work pull you to say, sure, I'll come up in front of a crowd of people and I'll share my story? So I just want to say thank you, Tim, for your courage, for your heart, and really sharing your story, because I think this is just such a great example of what it is really to feel psychologically safe. So thank you for sharing your story, because I know you're going to be a model for others.
For those who don't know me, my name is Tim Carolyn. I'm the PCU manager. I've been here for just over 4 years. Recently, back in August of 2024, my daughter was, I hate that picture. You gotta do better next time. My daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. My whole team rallied around me. I decided I didn't want her going alone on this, so I said, maybe I should get leukemia too. So, at the end of last summer, I was diagnosed with leukemia also. I spent a month at a magnet designated hospital in Boston. I'm not going to tell you where it was, but you can probably figure it out. There's some positive takeaways and some not so positive takeaways in my 30-day stay there. I was very verbal about who I was and what I did for work. I didn't want them to keep explaining colics to me. It was just too much. So, along with Diane's bundle, 30 days, no nurse leader rounded with me whatsoever. I know if I knew a nurse from another organization was on my unit, or a nurse leader from another organization was on my unit, I would make sure I'd be in that room day one, just to make sure that everything was going smooth, to get the feedback from them that this is what you're doing good, this is what you could be doing better, because there's nobody else's perspective like an outside perspective. They can tell you what you're doing wrong. Bedside handoff, not done at all. 30 days, no. 2 nurses came in to say, hey, this is Sam, she's taking over for me for day shift, I'll be back tonight to see you. So I never knew who was coming in, who was coming, who was leaving. A lot of times I didn't know who the nurse was going to be until they showed up for 10 o'clock med pass. Causes a certain amount of anxiety not knowing who's going to be taking care of you. The hourly rounding didn't occur at this big Boston hospital. So I get vitals done in the morning, I'd have a med pass, it might be the afternoon before I ever saw another staff member again. This causes so much anxiety to that person in the bed. I know a little bit more to be a little more dangerous, but still, it still causes the anxiety that you don't know what's going on. The whiteboards, they had great whiteboards. Didn't use them really. I did my whiteboard more than the staff did. I was the king of my own eyes and O's. Providers didn't take the time to update me. I was sent for procedures, had labs done, meds changed, and I was never given the why. I tried to play nice in the sandbox. I don't always do that, but I tried to play nice in the sandbox and realized I'm just the patient, I'm not the nurse, I'm not the nurse leader, so I kept my mouth shut a lot until the end, and then I started refusing stuff. You can only play nice in the sandbox for so long. One of the good things that they did was it didn't restrict my visitors. I'm a nurse, most of my friends are nurses. We don't work good hours. So a lot of the times, I had visitors that would come in after shift in the morning, after shift in the evening. It was outside their visitation hours. The staff there did not restrict who was coming to see me when they were coming to see me and how long they were staying. Granted, I had all nice people coming in and saying nice things, but that was one of the positive things, and that's one of the things I stress with my staff on PCU, that is, if it was you in the bed, you would want your family member to come in. So, just food for thought. I had 2 nurses that made a really big impact on me while I was down there inpatient. One of the nurses was a weekend track night charge nurse. Because I was an easy patient until the end, they kind of offset me with some of the sicker patients. So the charge nurse got me most of the time, especially on the weekends. I always had a plan. She knew what the plan was, I knew what the plan was. She knew she wasn't waking me up at 4 o'clock for vital signs. She knew I was an early riser, so 5:30 in the morning I'd be getting up, I'd be calling and saying, hey, I'm up. She'd bring my morning meds in, do all the things. It was just establishing that plan and having that You know, the forethought of her saying, okay, he needs his rest, this is not his norm, just made things so much easier. I always knew Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Even if she wasn't my nurse, there was always a check-in. I had another nurse that, she was a float nurse for the 3 oncology units. She wowed me one day. She threw me for a loop. She came in, no nursing task needed. She just came in and sat down next to me and said, tell me your story. Didn't know where to go. I said, which part of my story? How far do you want to go back? Like, what do you want to do? So she said, just tell me. I've got nothing going on for 10 minutes, so give me your story. So we sat down, I gave her my story. That 10 minutes was life-changing. She came back to visit me most shifts, even if she wasn't my nurse, just to check in. She goes, guys like you bury shit. That's what it is. Like, tough exterior, mushy inside. We bury things. She goes, I want you to tell me exactly what is going on mentally. So she called me out on my burying of my emotions, which we all know I do. She was great for the mental the check-ins. I'm going to read this because it's not easy to just wing this one. So, being in a bed for 30 days takes its toll. It was like being in jail, except I didn't get 1 hour of your time. Until you're in that position to be in that bed for 30 days, it's a tough pill to swallow. This is what I want you to take back to your staff, is that I appreciate the nurses who took the moment to check in with me mentally. The brief conversation positively changed my outlook for the day. It made me feel genuinely supported and cared for. You'll never truly understand the impact you have as a nurse until the day you become a patient. I want the staff to understand that. You put down your phone, step away from the unit, noise, and drama. Take the 10 minutes to sit with your patient. No tasks, no rushing, just listening. Ask how they're doing, ask who they are outside those 4 walls. Like, where were they before they came in? You'll never know how much those few minutes can matter to someone who's scared, lonely, and stuck in a hospital bed for days on end. Those 10 minutes might be the best part of their day, their week, or even their entire hospital stay. You'll never forget the impact. I'll never forget the impact of those 2 nurses had on me while I was there for a month. I have to go back in a few weeks for another month, hopefully. Shorter, we'll see. But I'm hoping these 2 nurses that took care of had this impact on me are still on that unit, because I know it does me a little bit of, it gives me a little bit of peace knowing that if they're there, I know I'm good for a little bit.